Hello, 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 and welcome back to Talking to Tequila with Chloe. That's me, Chloe. And my, do we have a fabulous week ahead of us. Now, of course, what do we have going on? The weekly catch up. And yes, we will talk about the elephant in the room. I don't know if you have spotted it yet, but we will be discussing it. We're going to get back to consumerism. I promise you consumerism last week. Again, it is not a lecture. Do not dare, under any circumstances, turn this podcast off when you heard consumerism. Do you understand me? Thank you so much for understanding. Tequila time. We are going through the Oscars. Zendaya. As a whole, she is a topic in Tequila time. And of course, Karen Huger's DUI arrest. And closing out the week will be the Summer House recap, which, thank Christ, Paige clocked in. Thank you so much. Now, the first thing I want to discuss with you is, of course, we're back in my humble abode. We are back in my normal podcasting studio. I know last week I gave you a little bit of taste of that Annapolis wood pine filled, kind of stunning rental that I was in. But at last, we are back home, honey. Say hello to the beanbag. You know my favorite beanbag. This is where I like to podcast. And I sit crisscross applesauce and speak to you stunning people. Now, when I got home, what did I do? I think a lot of people knew I've, kind of been feeling down lately. And I thought the perfect way to get myself back up and feeling excellent and feeling fabulous was to self-tan. Now, have I self-tanned before? Yes, I have. I think twice. Once for sure that I can remember. Once for sure in an establishment. But in my home, I think I did it once or twice. Now, I read about this really stunning, Bondi sands. Oh, also I have lipstick on today. Let me know how you like it. Not red. I did like a bit more of like a nude kind of thing, and I think it's kind of stunning. But anyways, I got this Bondi Sands tanning stuff in Technicolor, in shade magenta. That's what I heard on TikTok was the best. And I was reading the instructions, and it said, let's sit on for 1 hour, and then at the max 3. Now, the issue with that is that everyone always says to me, not to me, actually, no one's speaking to me about self-tan. What people always say online is, oh God, sorry, I just adjusted my microphone volume, my headphone volume, and I turned it down too low. That was, the fun thing about a homegrown podcast, Take a Shot, is you kind of get this behind the scenes, the fun thing about me is in years from now, when we're speaking at, I'm at some speaking engagement, right? I'm talking to you guys, I'm at a live podcast, and you're like, remember when you didn't even have a producer? What did you do before your producer, Amy? And I'm going to be like, I know, right? Remember when I was adjusting my microphone? Okay. So anyways, I have heard 1,000 times, what do the tanning girlies say? They say 2 things: exfoliate, and no matter what the tanning instructions say, sleep in it. So I did that. I listened to you girls. Girls normally don't steer me wrong. I exfoliated and I slept in it, even though the box only said 3 hours. And guess what happened? I've never been more connected to our commander-in-chief, aka Donald Trump, than my hands are actually orange. Can we just hold on 1 second? I'm so embarrassed to talk with my hands. I am actually orange. Okay. Now, if you don't know and you only listen to this on the podcast app, I do have a YouTube video available. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to the brass tacks of things, I look like a clown. I look like a Oompa Loompa. I look like a fool. All because I listen to these girls. Now, let me tell you something. I haven't even reviewed the Bondi Sands tanning product because I don't want to slander them. I'm the one who decided to sleep in it. Now, what else I think I did wrong is you wear these mitts, right, to like not get your hands tan. But then I took the mitts off and I went, so how do my hands get tan? I can't look like someone connected hands onto my body that aren't tan. So I took the mitts and I like rubbed them on my hands. That's a mistake apparently. Now I did take a little brush and like brush between my fingers like I hear that you're supposed to do. That's what the girls say. I need to understand the transition from the wrist and palm to the forearm because I missed that memo. And what the girls aren't doing is giving that memo online. Unless I have to, I guess, specifically seek it out, which I will in the future. So the tan went okay. But like in general, it didn't do what I needed because what I wanted my tan to do was cause me some mental relief. Like I wanted to have like one little bit of a dopamine hit. And it did the opposite. It did what I like to call the opposite, which was just cause me anguish. So if anyone has any tips and tricks on how to get rid of a tan a little bit faster, let me know. And then I will do the self-tanning again and see if I can like correct my mistake. But in the meantime, it was a red alert. It was an orange alert. Orange alert. Orange alert. That's my new favorite phrase. Okay. Now I don't have much time to just like I can't just gab about nothing this entire podcast because we've got to get down to the topics because they're actually important this week, okay? Now, I am also seeing that I'm a little off center. That may be bothering people. And let me tell you something, it's bothering me as well. So let's just all be tortured together. Okay. First and foremost, I want to get into a little bit about consumerism, especially we're not getting into politics right now heavily. We're touching on consumerism and I would be remiss, obviously, to not mention today's March 4th. Technically, it's March 5th for you girlies, but I'm recording on what seems to be a windfall of tariffs conversation. You know, Canada's throwing tariffs. Well, hold on. That makes it sound like they were the initiator. We're throwing tariffs at Canada. They were implemented as of today. We're throwing tariffs at Mexico. They're responding. China's throwing tariffs at us. Canada's throwing tariffs at us. Mexico's throwing tariffs at us. We're throwing tariffs at them. And the energy's being shut off. The peas, edamame, tequila, everything's being compromised. Okay? The stock market has closed the lowest it has since the inauguration. It's fluctuating. It's an emergency. We're in an economic windfall emergency. Now, what I want to say about that is some of that maybe gonna wash out, possibly. I don't know, right? I'm not an economist. I'm a girl. Do you understand me? I'm just a girl trying to figure this out. I'm not an economist. I'm not a stock bro. But what I can do is watch the news, read the news, and there has been a lot of tariffs talk, but none of them have like really truly been implemented yet. It seems today, aka yesterday, for you girlies and guys, that they have actually been implemented. And or are going to be being implemented. Like I think China's is going to be implemented for us on like the 14th or something. But we have apparently implemented all of ours. Now that might have you panicking. That might have you stressed out. But I'm going to tell you a little story from a few years ago, okay? Now, a few years ago, when I was working in Pittsburgh, I passed a Wendy's every day. Every day on my way home, I passed a Wendy's. Okay? And every single day, I got a 10-piece chicken nugget. And I could not stop myself. I was addicted. I had an addiction to Wendy's chicken nuggets. Every day, I said to myself, You will not, under any circumstance, stop at this Wendy's today. Get a grip. Get a grip, Chloe. Stop it. You're an animal. You're a monster. And every day I would be getting almost to the Wendy's entrance. And I would be like, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. And then I would actually almost wreck my car to get into the Wendy's. Like every single day, I would literally turn. I wasn't strong enough. I would make this decision and turn and almost wreck my car to get into that Wendy's for a 10-piece chicken nugget. And I thought to myself once, something drastic is going to have to happen for me to stop getting chicken nuggets every day. And then all of a sudden, and the same guy took my order like almost like he must have been working. He must have been working like a dog. He was there literally every day. He would take my payment. And I had no shame. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. And then one day, I get to the window. One thing about me, I don't like awkward encounters. You may think I do because I can be so confrontational sometimes about topics I'm, passionate about. Or like at work, I'll kind of be like, if something's on my mind, like I'll just say it. But in general, I really hate awkwardness. It really bothers me. So I get there. Oh my God, I apologize. I just breathed into my nose so loud. I forgot I have this extremely high-tech equipment that picks up literally a pin dropping. So I really apologize for that sniffle. I'm getting over a sickness. So I get to the window and this gentleman takes my payment. And then you know what he says to me when he's giving me back my payment? He asked me if I would like, now I can't quite remember if he asked me if I wanted to get coffee or get dinner or exchange, maybe he asked my name. I can't really remember. Long story short, he was kind of like, like trying to come on to me. Obviously, I'm in an extremely committed relationship. Not only that, no. No, right? Just no. It was so awkward. I was like, oh, I have a boyfriend. So awkward. And then I thought, that was it. I mean, let me tell you something. I never stopped at that Wendy's again in my life. I never returned to that Wendy's because first of all, I know that man's a working man. He's been at that window. One thing I know is I'm going to get a 10-piece chicken nugget and he's going to take my payment. And what am I supposed to do now? Every day be face to face, so awkward. I will avoid awkwardness at all costs. So what's the point of me telling that story? The point of me telling that story is a lot of us are in the same financial situation. Credit card debt, student loans, buying our kids 1,000 toys, all going out to eat, DoorDash, 15 different blushes just because some beauty guru said this is the next best one, bottled water instead of Brita or instead of putting a filter on your tap, all this shit, right? We have been groomed for the last 10, 15 years to buy. Don't buy the regular pasta, buy the tri-colored pasta because it makes your plate look cooler. I know it's $5 more a bag. Who cares? Buy it. It'll be a fun dinner. We're going to stop. This tariff situation is the man asking me for my number in the Wendy's drive-thru. That's our hard stop. They did us a favor. The government did us a favor. Elon did us a favor. The billionaires being greedy did us a favor. This is our financial freedom. This is our thorn in our side. This is our chip on our shoulder. This is our awkward encounter. We will under no circumstance be paying for 10 subscription services to a man who sat front row at the inauguration, right? We're not going to do it. Now, I don't care where you're, in this specific conversation, I don't care where your political standing is, right? I don't think I have a single billionaire or millionaire listening to my podcast. If I do, what the hell? Why haven't you funded this yet? okay, we can do a side tangent. If I have a billionaire or a millionaire listening to this show, like, I'm sorry, you're not sponsoring me? Are you kidding? Like, can we be real? That means you're a fan of mine. So I'm under the assumption that I have not a single multimillionaire or billionaire listening to this show. If that is the case, that means no matter where you stand politically, if these tariffs go full force like how they're going to, you will have a repercussion of that financially. Now's the time where you're going to go, okay, I'm going to pocket that money instead of spending it on something I don't need. Because whether or not you struggle now, this month or next year, having a little bit of a backup is going to behoove you. And that's going to be the word of the day, behoove. That means benefit you. I think under no circumstance, stitch that. If behoove isn't the right word, under no circumstance, let me know. I believe it's the right word. To me, behoove means benefit. Along those lines. I mean, give or take a word or whatever. So that's my little semi on consumerism. We will survive. We will thrive. We will not let this consume us. We have spent enough time these last month and a half being consumed by this shit. The one thing, it's going to get a little rough. It's going to get a little rocky. I just saw Canada say that they're going to just cut off energy to the 3 major cities in America. Canada does give us a lot of stuff. We give them stuff. And there is stuff that is going to be really weird if we can't afford it. It's going to get a little freaky. But what we're going to do is we're going to check in with our neighbors. Let me tell you something. Me and my 3 best friends, we all own homes. So what we would never do is let any of us become homeless, right? Let's say worst case scenario. It's the damn nitty gritty. Worst case scenario. Let's say, it's the worst case scenario. You think me and my friends aren't all moving into each other's houses? Get out the tape measures. Who has the most square feet? That's where we're going. I mean, it's just easy and simple. And if you don't have any family, we'll figure it out. People are banding together more than ever now to try to figure out scenarios. And what else we're going to do is we're going to drop our egos and we're going to buck up. If that means that we have to get a part-time, let me tell you something. I've been a nurse for 10 years and I'm looking at damn Rita's ice applications. You heard me. I'm talking a mango iced slushy. I have no shame. If we have to pick up second jobs, we're picking up second jobs. If you have to go, I don't really know, we're doing it. That's it. We will not let ourselves crumble in this situation. Now, I said my piece on consumerism. I hope I brought you some peace. What we're going to do is save money, stop spending money on bullshit. Not only are we not going to struggle during this economic crisis, we're going to thrive and we're going to pay off our shit. For real, that is what's happening this year. Check back in with me December 31st. And by the way, I know that we said that, I said we're not doing New Year's resolutions this year. I changed my mind because what I now realize, I said at first, this year our goal is to just survive. I rebuke that. I take it back. Our goal this year is to have extremely well-formed goals to keep our eye on the prize. We can't float anymore. You know how we're all just surviving? We're not doing that anymore. We're not just floating because it's allowing our mind to wander. So what we're going to do, next week's homework is we're coming back with our New Year's resolutions. I don't give a rip that it's March. We're coming back with New Year's resolutions. And I expect a list. Thank you so much. Because we're a community. What are we? Slay Nation. What are we going to do? Slay. Hello? What are we? Slay Nation. What are we going to do? Slay. What are we? Slay Nation. What are we going to do? Slay. Thank you so much, girls and guys. I have 9% followers on TikTok. Male followers. I don't know what they're watching. but it always shocks me. Okay. Now, I will say, we're going to get into the Oscars. And this is going to be, because can I tell you something? I'm so over the Oscars, and I know you are too. So this isn't going to be the Oscars talk that you're used to. Like, I don't care about the speeches. Like, I don't care about any of that, okay? We're going to be talking about other stuff. Because the one bad thing about a Wednesday podcast drop is like sometimes things are like kind of old, but hopefully hearing it from my perspective reinvigorates you. Timothée Chalamet, it did not win Best Actor. And if you don't know who Timothée Chalamet is, of course it's Timothy Chalamet. Now, I have a little bit of a different outlook on this, to be honest with you. I don't particularly have any feeling on Timothée at all. I understand he's one of the biggest actors. Like, he's kind of like, this generation's, like, George Clooney or Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp or someone, like, really massive. He kind of, like, is the guy. And I just have I'm just not invested in him. He seems really quite nice and down to earth, but he's so petite. Like, and I'm not saying that in any way. It's just like, and he looks little to me. Like, that's the thing. Like, he looks like a young man to me. It's like, I don't think it's crazy that like 35-year-old women aren't gagging over Timothée Chalamet. He could be my child. I don't know if he could technically be my child, but I feel like he is. So I don't think it's crazy for me to not be like swooning and gagging over Timothée. I can say he seems like a nice man. I can say he's talented. I can say in Dune Part 2, he really did kind of freak me out. Like, I really thought he was losing his mind. That's good acting, right? Like, I really did find him to be like this really like mad guy. Like, not that he's necessarily mad in Dune Part 2, but like, he's kind of like getting drunk off power. And I believed it. That means I respect him. At the same time, I'm not going to be like, he's not going to be on the red carpet and I'm going to be like, swoon, cut out photos and put it on my wall. He's like a young man to me in a way that men should look at women too. However, unfortunately, men's minds are polluted. And when they see a younger woman, they think wife. And when we see younger men, we think he could be our child. So I don't know who needs to study that, but there you go. Okay. Now here's my it's not unpopular opinion. It's just, this is my thought. Timothée was very upset. Well, let me not put words in Timothée's mouth. Timothée really wanted to win the Oscar and he didn't for Best Actor for his Bob Dylan movie. I'm happy he didn't win the award because in my opinion, if he is going to be this next great actor of our time, next great actor of our generation, I think it's going to be so much more gratifying and rewarding for him to win Best Actor for a character he totally created himself. I'm not talking about writing the character, right? But being Best Actor for imitating another person, I think down the road might not be as gratifying. It's kind of like he had a cheat sheet, right? Like you watch, and I'm not saying that in a condescending way. I'm not saying he cheated at the character, but I'm saying he had a blueprint to follow, right? He had mannerisms to mimic. He had voice, tendencies to mimic. Where some people might say, well, that's why he should win. He did such a good job, and he did. But imagine, here's an example. I just breathed heavily again. I'm really sorry. If a singer has 2 albums, in one she did an entire cover of Celine Dion because she loves her, right? And then one was all her own original music. Now she had producers helping her and co-writers, right? But like that was her baby. What album do you think she would want to win more for Best Album of the Year? I think it would be the one that she birthed herself, right? So for me, I think this is nothing but an opportunity for Timothée to really get it when it is really that role that he really fostered, created, and really had a love child with. And I understand that he loved the role of Bob Dylan and he respects him greatly. And he spent years, taking singing lessons and really honing in that role. But trust me on this, I know what I'm talking about as someone who's never won an award in their life that I can think of off the top of my head. Okay. Let's just quickly run through the list of things I do not care about, but let's just run through it for the sake of maybe you care, okay? Best actor went to Adrian Brody. Best actress went to Mikey Madison or Mickey Madison. It's that woman from Anora. Best picture, Anora. Best supporting actors, Kieran McCulkin and Zoe Saldana. Now that we got through that absolute list of shit I do not care about, I'm going to talk about what I do care about. Nosferatu won nothing. Nothing at the Oscars. Not a zip, not a zilch, not a rip. You want me to sit up here and watch this whole award show of all these movies, and the movies that actually tickled my fancy are apparently Nose Up, they're not good enough. If you watch Nosferatu, you would know the scenery, amazing. The cinematography, amazing. Lily Rose Depp, if you watch Nosferatu and you saw Lily Rose Depp whipping her tongue around, all around her lips, walking backwards, convulsing, and you're telling me she didn't win Best Actress? I understand it's not popular to make like scary movies or vampire movies, these like award-winning movies. However, that was the most visually stimulating movie I have ever seen. The landscaping, the imagery, everything about that movie was stunning. And what do we have to do? We have to play by Hollywood's stupid playbook, their dumb playbook. Every single movie I enjoyed this year, Wolfman, Nosferatu, Deadpool, even though someone needs to tell Ryan Reynolds to lay the hell off Self-Tanner. I understand coming from me today, it's a joke, but in general, I don't go crazy with Self-Tanner. Every movie that someone might have gotten an ounce of semblance of joy from, sorry, we can't see it. It can't be in the Oscars. God forbode it was lighthearted. God forbode it was a horror film. God forbode it was a creepy film. God forbode it was mythological. I understand that pictures that are nominated normally are like deeply layered or this or that. I'm sorry. If Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet could be nominated for the Grammys, get your shit together, Oscars. You can nominate one mother effing film that has 1 ounce of semblance of joy in it. Everything doesn't have to be a movie that is the entire weight of the world on your shoulders, literally dragging you down. Now, I understand Anora actually was like semi more like kind of entertaining and not like super like deep in despair. So thank God they got a little bit of shine. I mean, they actually got a lot of shine, right? Like they kind of saved it. But in general, like lighten the absolute hell up. And I'm not saying every movie that is nominated has to be like, I mean, I know technically Wicked won too, but like I'm so over Wicked. Like Wicked like just consumed everything this year. And like, so I know they won a few things. So that's also good because that really was commercialized. So like them winning, like I think they won like cinema. I don't know. They won stuff that I don't care about, to be honest with you. I just mean like, can a Goofs and Gaffs movie be nominated? If Nosferatu had extremely visually stimulating imagery, can that not win anything? Oh my God. I just saw my sweater arm moving on my clothes rack and I thought, is there a ghost? You guys hold on. I'm doing an experiment. Oh no. Okay, so when I move, my beanbag moves, therefore my floor moves, therefore my clothing rack moves, therefore my sweater arm moves. So it's not a ghost, it's just my big body. Thank God. I thought Nosferatu was coming for me. My goodness gracious. Now, I'm over the Oscars. Let's move on from that because someone, I'm not joking, in 2026, like there must be a movie that I give a shit about there, like nominated. Please. Please. I'm fucking begging you guys. Now, oh, by the way, I forgot. Tequila time. We are now in the tequila time segment, which is pop culture stories. The Oscars were the first one. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You guys know I'm doing the best I can. And it's not even like bad. I didn't even do anything bad. It's just like sometimes I forget to announce my transitions because I'm a one woman shop here. Okay. So let's talk about Zendaya. And the reason I want to talk about her is cuz she made the news, and I just want to preface something. I want to kind of prepare your mind for something about Zendaya that I don't think enough people realize. So Zendaya, and of course, my dogs will be barking at some point in this episode because they just want, you know what they want to do? Oh, I get it. They're jealous. Oh my God, I just got it. They want to be part of the podcast. Maybe one day when they learn to behave. Okay. Just joking. I love my dogs. I actually just love them so much I can't even stand it. I just kind of do this like little like it's kind of like a little bit like, oh, my dogs. But it's like, Lord knows I love my dogs. In fact, everyone knows it. I let them kiss me on the mouth, to be honest with you. Not open. I'm not a freak, right? But like some people don't let their dogs kiss their face. Honey, this face is your landing field for my face is a runway for your tongue. You want to lick my forehead, lick it. You want to lick my cheek, lick it. If you really start to make your way toward like the middle area, I do press my lips together really tight and then like kind of like really like wipe all their drool off me afterwards. But the point is I love my dogs. You guys know that. If you know anything about me, you know, what do you know? Two things. I love my dogs. I hate Donald Trump. Okay, next. Zendaya has a huge year ahead of her in 2026. It was announced that she will be in Shrek 5, The Odyssey, Spider-Man 4, Dune Messiah, and Euphoria Season 3. Now, why is this important? One of two reasons. Of course, we will be getting fashion looks from her, which I'm, obviously stunned and gagged over. One of my favorite fashion looks of all time was her wet leather look. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's really just unbelievable. But the reason I want to speak about Zendaya being in that much stuff in one year is because you may potentially fall victim to feeling burnt out about Zendaya. You may fall victim to being, what's it called? Oversaturated with Zendaya. And before you start to feel that way, or before you start to maybe run with that narrative, I have to remind you, Zendaya and Tom Holland have very famously discussed that when they start to have children, you will never see them again. Tom Holland has said it pretty black and white in an interview, and I believe Zendaya has also said it and or alluded to it. Their plan is to work their little tails off until they start a family, and then arrivederci. They're going to pull a Cameron Diaz. We will never see them again. I have to implore you to then, every single time we are given Tom Holland and Zendaya content, movies, seasons, looks, fashion, photo shoots, to do nothing but welcome it and bask in it. Because I love Zendaya. So I could fall victim to like having the Zendaya craze if 2026 be similar to a Wicked, where you get to the end of the year and you're actually you're seeing stars. Like you can't take another Wicked. But you have to remember that there will come a point in time where you'll be screaming, crying, begging, throwing up for Zendaya to come back, and you're going to remember 2026 and how much you took that for granted, or not another red carpet look, or not another fashion moment, or not another preview, and you're going to be begging for that moment again. So I'm just imploring you to just welcome the Zendaya craze of 2026 and not fight it. We only have so many looks left. For example, Nicolas Cage is my favorite actor. I think you should all know this by now. He is, of course, the most underrated actor of our generation, so on and so forth. And my dad said to me one day, like, you've watched every Nicolas Cage movie, haven't you, huh? And I was like, oh, no, I absolutely have not. Nicolas Cage is in his 60s, I believe. And that means I have at least, 35, 40 years on that man? That means for 35, 40 years of my adult life, he will no longer be churning out movies because he will have passed on, right? And if he's my favorite actor and I watch all of his movies now, let's say he stops making movies when I'm 40, right? So I'm going to have watched all of his movies and be 40. And then from the ages of 40 to 85, I have no new Nicolas Cage movies to watch because he'll have either retired or passed on from us. No, you have to time them out. You have to taper them. You have to enjoy what you have while you have it and savor it and stretch it out. You know what I mean? Now, we're going to do what I like to call a sling. My tongue might be too big for my mouth because sometimes when I speak, I actually choke on my tongue. You know what I mean? I don't know if that happens to anyone else. But what I was going to say before my enemy of a tongue embarrassed me is what I like to do is I like to do something called a slingshot, where we talk about something really positive and then I slingshot it back. So sometimes I'll talk about something negative and then slingshot it to a positive. Sometimes I'm going to talk about something positive and sling it to a negative. So what I'm going to do right now is slingshot. What we were talking about is Zendaya. And then we're going to switch to Karen Huger. Good God. Now, if you don't know, Karen Huger is a Real Housewife of Potomac. Some people call her the Grand Dame. She was a fixture, if not like a mother hen of the franchise. If you don't know, she was arrested for a DUI last year. She, contested it. She pled not guilty. They did an entire trial, only for the footage to get released. She lost the trial. She was found guilty. Only for the footage to get released, for us to see she was absolutely blackout, sloshed, hammered. I'm not talking like, oh, I've had a cocktail. I'm talking hammered. To the point where I don't really make pop culture videos anymore. I mean, every now and again I do, but like generally I don't. To the point where I felt compelled to make a video like and I'm not, you know me, I'm not like a big like, oh, police resources, like I'm not like a like government pusher, like, you know what I'm trying to say. To the point that I was like, oh my God, wait, she actually wasted like court resources. Like there is someone whose court case got pushed who actually does need to be seen by the judge, who actually might be innocent. And like we just wasted X number of days with her court case. Like that's abysmal. So I was like kind of heated. I already had a bad taste in my mouth because I don't know the point of going to a court case if you know 100% you're going to lose. Like 100%. And then she skipped the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion because she said she was in rehab, which I'm now hearing reports that she was only in rehab for 48 hours. So I don't know if that was to like save face, skip the reunion. I don't really know what the point of that 48-hour stint was, if that's true. But I mean, Lord knows it didn't do anything. I mean, that's not even a damn detox. I think that's 3 to 5 days. Now, sentencing rolled around last week. And holy shit, she got sentenced to 2 years in jail or prison, with it having to actually be 1 year in prison. So Karen Huger is currently in prison for a year. Now, will she actually serve the whole year? It depends on overcrowding, things like that. Now, I was not aware of this. I was like, a fucking year? I know people that got DUIs that just got their license suspended for 30 or 60 days or, 90 days or whatever. So I'm thinking they threw the damn book at her. I'm thinking, I never want to be arrested in Potomac. Holy hell. But what did I do? I used my brain and I said, let me Google something real quick. How many DUIs has Karen had? I thought this was her first. Oh, honey. Karen Huger has had 4 DUIs. So they didn't throw the book at her. This woman hasn't learned. So the reason I'm reporting this story is because if you were like me and unaware that Karen Huger had 4 DUIs, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. Clink, clink. It's the age of Uber, for Christ's sakes. You can order an Uber. And by the way, not that DUI is ever okay under any circumstance, but if your brain isn't even fully developed yet, like you're 20, I literally think your brain doesn't develop until you're 25 all the way. If you're like some 20-year-old, not that it's an excuse, but at least I can say her brain ain't done yet. Karen is a fucking mother, for Christ's sakes. This woman is grown. This woman is an adult with a capital A, period after the T, honey. Adult. She should know better. So all I have to say is, someone said, is production for Potomac going to be paused? Honey, no, they already said it wasn't going to be paused. She's a big part of the show. She's no Teresa Giudice or Giudice. I cannot be bothered to figure out the difference between the two pronunciation. I'm not going to figure out how to pronounce Teresa Giudice or Giudice. I don't know. I don't care. I got bigger fish to fry. Now let's get to the Summer House recap. I'm actually in shock. I'm in awe that Bravo TV was able to squeeze out 3 episodes from one weekend. It was a little much. It was a little annoying, to be honest with you. But at last they did it. So 3 episodes of one weekend. That's what we were given. However, thank God, I've been saying and screaming from the rooftops for at least a month now. Give me Summer House is fine. I need to see Winter City. Okay. And that's a little bit of what I got. Not that it was the winter. But I want to see these girls in there. I want all the guys can go away and all the girls can be given a city TV show. I want to see what these girls do when they're on their 9 to 5s. I'm sorry, Gabby. I need to see that woman in her regular work week. I don't know what her day-to-day brings, but I want to emulate it. So I'm going to need to see what she does on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. Okay? We got a little bit of Lexi and we got a little bit of, what the hell is that curly-haired man's name? Jesse. We got a little bit of their love story continuing. Lexi's starting to kind of lay the groundwork of do not play me. And I'm really enjoying that. I'm really loving her kind of being like, hey, we're not dating yet, but if we were, these are my expectations. Could it possibly be a little bit soon? Yeah, but at the same time, I'm going to need these men to start realizing if you want to love bomb someone, right? At the end of the day, Jesse's love bombing Lexi. If you want to love bomb them, And don't be surprised when the dust blows back on you, right? You dropped the bomb and then the love came back at you, honey. So she's saying, if you want to fawn over me and go goo goo gaga and be all up in my face, then I'm gonna let you know if that's really how you feel and that's really how this is going. Like I'm jealous. I don't want you to comment on other girls' posts that you love them, your gag, sexy. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? I don't want that. I apologize for that. That was disgusting. I just made a weird, like, mouth thing, and that was horrific. I do apologize. So the point is we got a little bit of Lexi, we got a little bit of Jesse. That's fine. I'm moving on from that. But the crux of the episode, the core, the last chunk of it was this beef brewing between Paige and Kyle. Now, if you guys remember, several months ago, there was a big Hufflepuff online because Craig became an investor in and collabed with a spritz company. The Morning Toast has a spritz, or the toast, I guess now it's called, has a spritz. It's called Spritz Society. They partnered with Craig Conover, and I believe he is an investor now as well. And they dropped a lemon iced tea flavor, I believe. And when that collaboration dropped, Kyle threw an absolute bitch fit, who is the creator of Loverboy, which also has a spritz. Now follow me here. Paige DeSorbo is dating Craig Conover. They are all part of the universe. Paige is castmates with Kyle. Kyle has Loverboy at the summer house all the time. They drink Loverboy. Loverboy is a canned cocktail. Craig has been coming to the summer house for years because as part of Bravo castmates, they kind of intertwine a few of their episodes to bring in viewers from other franchises. Because Kyle feels he has a monopoly, by the way, this is all in my opinion, on canned cocktails in the Bravoverse, Kyle took it as a personal offense, in my opinion, that Craig, who has nothing to do with Loverboy in any way, shape, or form, outside of just being friends with Kyle, he took a personal offense that Craig would partner with a different canned cocktail company. Now, apparently this led to Kyle rage texting Paige, who is Craig's girlfriend, saying that's betrayal, how dare he, yada yada. In Paige, oh honey, she clocked in. Because my only complaint so far from this season is like, as much as I love a lounging queen, let me say that one more time more clearly. As much as I love a lounging queen, I find very little entertainment value in West and Jesse. And they have been the main characters of this season so far. And it's boring. And I'm waiting for Paige to show up. And she did. Okay? She is starting on the journey of reading Kyle to filth. Let me give you a little taste here. They start to shoot in the city so they can kind of unveil and unwrap this brewing conflict with the spritz drama. You know, Kyle went on, when this was months ago, Kyle went on different Watch What Happened lives and saying like, you know, Craig betrayed him. Craig's a liar. Craig's a bad friend. And when all this was blowing up and we saw it happening in real time, the kind of sentiment was like, Craig doesn't owe you any loyalty to Loverboy. It's not his company. Summer House isn't even his show. If Craig wants to invest in a different canned cocktail or highlight a different canned cocktail, he can. You don't own Craig in any way, shape, or form. So Paige is getting these rage texts. Craig owes nothing to Kyle. And not only that, what does Paige have to do with the price of tea in China? You have Craig's number. Go yell at him. But of course, Paige is a girl, so Kyle just loves the punching bag of a woman, in my opinion. And he starts going in on Paige. She says at this city party, Kyle is like DJing some party in the city. Paige is like, I came here to keep your girlfriend company while you play Diplo. Wife, actually, Amanda's his wife. While you try to act like Diplo. Like little things like that is what I'm looking forward to in these oncoming episodes. Because whether or not you like Loverboy or like Spritz or like Kyle or like Craig or like Paige or like whoever, Paige made an excellent point that for the last 7 years, she has come onto your show and drank your canned cocktail for free. Paige has a big paycheck behind her name now. If she's repping a company, if she's repping a drink, if she's sponsoring something, she gets a big ass paycheck from that. And for 7 years, she's come to the summer house and drank your canned cocktails for free and held your product in her hand for free. I'm not saying you wouldn't want to do that for a friend, but there's zero appreciation for Kyle. He gets free advertisement every season from all of his castmates, right? And Paige brings up a good point. He's never said thank you. He's never supported any of her ventures. He's never supported any of her brands. He's never supported her podcast. So what you're not going to do is take. And then when her boyfriend does something, rip her head off. That's what we call a imbalance, right? So I can't wait for Paige to just absolutely rip him to shreds. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it greatly because I don't think Kyle realizes that there should be a reciprocal relationship, right? Like Paige drinks Loverboy, Paige shouts out Loverboy, Paige supports Amanda, who is, your wife and the graphic designer of Loverboy. I still don't know if she's technically a business partner because, Kyle's selfish in my opinion. All for you to never be, you know what I do, by the way? And I'm a no one. Maybe that's why I do it. You can shout out, I make so many videos hey, here's 5 podcasts to listen to that are really great. Here's this company that's, all natural, or here's this, or here's that, or, you could after 7 years, how many interviews you do or this or that, or girls that stop you on the street or you know how easy it is to share a post on Instagram? Hey, my castmate of 7 years who drinks all my shit and I never pay them and I never do anything for them. Hey, they're on tour. Oh my God. Hey, my castmate's on tour. My castmate is on Amazon. Well, actually, I don't fuck with Amazon anymore. My castmate's this, my castmate's that. Do you know how easy it is to share that and shout them out and go good job, girls? But they don't want to do it. So now hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. You're going to learn that the hard way today. The only thing I'm really interested to see, because I already know that, Paige is going to wreak Kyle to filth. Of course, I'll be interested to see the dynamics of Amanda and all of that, because every time her dumb husband fucks up, she has to also suffer the repercussions of that, because Paige is her friend. So it is going to be a little bit awkward, but at the end of the day, they'll make it through. Trust me when I tell you that. Now, in closing this week, we are going to give the chic c'est la vie, ça va, ça va. Who is someone this week that I want to shout out? Who's someone that deserves a pat on the back, a second look, a little raise of the eyebrow? And I'm going to give that to Gabby of Summer House. I would like to start to think of Gabby in Summer House as the Dolores Catania of that franchise. What I like to say is Gabby's consistent. She may not be the juxt of the drama. She may not be the core of the bullshit. But she's always going to give sage advice. She's always going to slay a look. Her hair's always going to be on point. She's always going to add that absolutely necessary commentary at the right moment that creates some levity. And so while the world is burning right now, I would like to say, dive into reading, dive into home, like creating, make a loaf of bread. Get lost in an episode of reality TV. We must take mental breaks. And the reason that Sava isn't going to someone else that is really making like a huge, let's say social impact, it's because Sava is meant to be the shout out, highlight, vacation, mental flutter. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's meant to be light. So Gabby is being my light. Gabby is being my mental reprieve. I look at her muscles. I'm like, okay, I never knew about Pilates or anything like that. I mean, I know it's a thing. I went to one class one time last year. But like, okay, I'm about to do a damn Pilates. I'm following her on Instagram. I'm looking at her shit. She's giving me a little reprieve. Do you understand what I'm saying? So ça va, chic c'est la vie. Gabby. Now, I'm hoping that this was a mental vacation that you needed this week. It was a bit of a wild week. It's like a lot of things happened and nothing happened. It was very bizarre. We are out of award season officially. The next big thing we have to look forward to is the first Monday of May. That's the Met Gala. And if you will recall from my other podcast episodes, we will be supporting the Met Gala this year because the Met Gala theme is Black men in fashion, tailored men in fashion. And what we're going to do is always lift up when they, for once in their lives, shed light on a minority. God forbid mainstream media ever do that, especially with the rollback of DEIs. So as we get closer to Met Gala May, I will be covering more of that. But we can actually take a breath now. Award season is over. The hyperinflated self-indulgence of Hollywood has a break. And we can focus on other shit we care about for a few months, okay? Now, as I say at the end of every episode, very bumpily, if you see my clips on social media, if you could share them, that would be very helpful. If you could rate and review and subscribe, that would be very helpful. I have so many ratings so far. Thank you so much. I would like to say I have been working on making my titles more interesting so that people really maybe click on them more. And to my surprise last week, my episode title, Bill Burr Doesn't Scare Me, it got me 1,000 views on YouTube, which I was so happy about, right? I was thinking, oh my God, I got all these people's eyes on me. Now, to my shock and dismay, after I read the comments, what I realized was a bunch of male comedian fans found my podcast and told me I was a dumb, ugly bitch and I should stick to my day job. So that was actually a little bit shocking to me. And when I do make my podcast episode titles, I think I may kind of back off of highlighting what men might find interesting because I found myself in the crosshairs of a male audience, and that was frightening to me. It was scary. Okay. So, like, share, rate, review. You guys are already doing it. I found a little bit of a scary audience last week, but don't worry. They didn't really listen. They just watched 5 minutes and said to shut the hell up. So that was, interesting. Look, my eyes got watery because that kind of hurts my feelings, but it's okay. Until next time, we did it. We survived another week. We are in March. And I'm working on the outro. My outro has been 4 minutes. It's okay. Okay, I'm wrapping up. Okay, thank you, everyone. I love you. And until next week, bye.